All right, welcome back to our series, which I'm currently called Brand Pieces, right? You already know if you listen to this podcast that I do a lot of reading about companies, celebrities, and I love to share the stories that I learn specifically from the 7, 8, and 9 figure brands, right? So that way, as you are rebuilding and as you are pivoting your own brand, you can pull from the most successful businesses. All right, so let's get into this episode. We've already done a couple of these brand pieces. The name may change, but because there are so many pieces to building a successful brand, I love to use puzzles as an analogy. Okay, let's do it. So, I was listening to a story that was about a brand called Mary Ruth, which I had never heard of. And it was basically a product based company in the wellness industry. In short, they sell vitamins for the most part. And she was basically talking about what it takes to build $100 million brand, right? Because they've already made $100 million. Remember when I said 7, 8, 9 figure companies, and they have a billion with a B valuation. Okay. And one of the reasons why I wanted to share this particular story is because as she was talking in this interview, the person who was asking questions was asking about tactics. Okay. They were talking about all the little things that she did to build her brand. And she stopped them. And she was like, listen, none of that matters. All of those things are subject to change. Right. What she wanted to focus on was having a vision. Right. And in short, she was basically saying that when you're building something, you have to have a strong and firm vision of what you want and what you're building in your mind, and how that strong vision creates energy, right? It makes you very passionate. That passion synergizes the team. It helps you overcome obstacles. It helps you get to the destination that you want versus the one somebody else want, et cetera, et cetera. And in short, she was saying this matters. Your vision matters more than all of that other stuff. And I personally love to hear it, okay? Because I'm of the belief that most entrepreneurs tend to undervalue this phase of building a brand. Now, we call this the design phase, okay? Because most entrepreneurs are such busybodies, right? And because many of us are creatures of habit, we tend to struggle with the design phase, right? It's the building out of your vision. We tend to undervalue that part. I give some good examples of this in our 5-day email course, so you can check out the link if you want to grab it. It's free. But basically, the way I like to describe this design phase is to think about the way you might build a house, right? Let's say you were having your own house built, okay? And obviously, there's lots of pieces to building a house the same way that there are lots of pieces to building a brand, right? And there are also different types of labor. That's what I want you to catch. Different types of labor go into building a house. Entrepreneurs tend to focus on the construction, right? They tend to focus on building the walls and setting the plumbing up and getting the electric and all the things that they can see, right? But the most important parts of building a house are the parts that you can't see. It's the design, it's the part that comes before the construction, right? It's the architects. The architects are the one that lay out the blueprints that the construction workers build from. At some point, I'm gonna do a whole nother episode that just talks about architecture because for a while my son wanted to be an architect. And so we had our own rabbit hole phase. But that's another podcast for another day. Okay. What I want you to be able to see is that laying out your vision for what you want to build is what makes the execution far more effective. Okay. And it's exactly the same way when you're building a brand as it is when you're building a house. Okay. So when you are pivoting, this is an opportunity for you to get it right. One of the things that I often find is that our first businesses, right, we're often throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. We're often jumping and building the plane on the way down. And there is a place for all of that, right? It gets you out of fear. It helps you start and not procrastinate. But oftentimes, building in that kind of way does not yield the results that you want. That's the thing, right? Now, there's no shame, right? I was there, you were there. We didn't know what we didn't know, but we know now, right? So spending time clarifying your vision and designing the strategy to bring it to reality will save you so much time, so much energy, right? So I remember this is a great, I'm glad I remember this. So I bought a house. This was years and years ago. And for whatever reason, the number of people in my house kept expanding. Okay. Now, did I approve this? Maybe not. Okay. But I had my own two kids, and then my niece ended up coming, and then my brother ended up coming. And it just seemed to be more and more people. Okay. So I decided, okay, that I was going to add a bathroom and make my room bigger. Why? Because it's five people in one bathroom, and I'm tired of sitting on piss. If you have boys, then you understand that pee everywhere is a somewhat normal occasion. Okay. So because I am tired, I have decided we shall renovate. Okay. We shall enlarge my room, add a bathroom, and then they can have their own bathroom. Let them kids do what they're doing. Okay. When I tell you that renovation project was horrible, why? Because I didn't have any design elements. There was no architecture. Okay. We were, I ain't gonna use the word because sometimes people get sensitive on this podcast. But let's just say I was on a budget. Okay. We were not doing it the best way possible. And because I was not doing it the best way possible, it means that we didn't take the time to plan certain things. So a great example is I got this big tub, and like technically it's supposed to be hot tub outside kind of thing. But I came across it. I was like, yes, I'm a tub girly. Okay. I love to take good baths. So I bought the tub. The problem is the tub was so big that it wouldn't fit through the walls. Right. So now we have to take all the drywall off. Okay. Pull the tub in, put the drywall back. Okay. That's already a lack of design all by itself. Okay. Then we keep going with the project. Turns out, I don't know what the problem was, but we ended up not being able to use the tub. So now we got to take the drywall off again, take the tub back out, and I got to find somebody to buy this doggone tub. Like, the point that I'm making is that when we don't plan well, it creates more headaches. The amount of headaches that I had with that renovation project was serious. Okay. Makes me swear off renovating anything ever again in life. But we don't have to experience that as entrepreneurs who are pivoting as seasoned entrepreneurs. In the beginning, you don't know what you don't know, but now you do. Okay. So I just want to encourage you. This one piece that I want you to remember is you need to be clear on your vision. Right. And I just want to also, I'm going to play this clip because if I can find it quick enough. The other thing is that we often feel like we're clear when we're not. You have to know what goes into the element that you're getting clear on. Whether you're trying to get clear on your vision, like we're talking about now, or whether you're trying to get clear on your offer, your marketing strategy, your sales strategy. How can you know whether or not you're even clear if you don't know all the pieces that go into your marketing strategies? Right. So this is a common one. People will tell me what they're doing to market, and I'm like, that's not a marketing strategy. You posting on social media does not count as a strategy. That is one element of marketing, but there are three other things that need to be present. Right. So sometimes we think we are clear, right? But we really aren't. Right. And last week I got an inbox from one of our clients, and I love when they're impromptu, right? We have a class, I'm teaching something, or we're talking through something, we're through a hot seat call or something. And then afterwards, someone will inbox me and be like, loved it. And I'm going to play this clip. So you can just see she already felt like she was clear about her vision, right? Most of us, even when we're pivoting, we're like, oh, I'm clear about this. I'm clear about this. I might not be clear about everything, but I'm clear about some things. But even when you think you're clear, sometimes you're not. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's a little bit long and it's a little bit personal. But this first part, I just want you to catch it. So, I'm not making it up. When I say people be inboxing me, right? This was part of what she said. So let me see if I can play it.
Hey, darling. Good afternoon. Fabulous class today. I just wanted to let you know that I did went through the class from last week that my dumb self forgot the date. I did on Monday, and it was so great when you were talking about the objective and the strategies, the vision, the impact, to be clear on all those things, what I want my to achieve and all of that. And I did the work yesterday, and I sit on this computer and
It goes on. But the point is, we were talking about vision, and we were talking about strategy. We were talking about how those two things go hand in hand, which is why I love when I was listening to the brand around Mary Beth, and she was like, I do not want to talk to you about tactics. Like she was very clear. I want to talk to you about the things that matter most. And so I wanted to do this podcast just to remind you this is coming from somebody who has $100 million brand, $1 billion valuation, who is saying, stop worrying about all those tactics, have a strong enough vision that the people around you can buy into, that you yourself can buy into, because entrepreneurship is going to come for you. And if your vision is not strong enough, if you don't have enough conviction in where you're going, you will collapse.